it again. Yeah, very, very different off season this year than last year in many ways. Last year as we were coming in, we had a vision for how we wanted to build a team. We had a lot of work to do on that side of building a team. We were talking about building culture, talking about a lot of things in a new regime and an older organization, but new regime. So a lot of that stuff is in a good position. So we feel like this year is about being more methodical, being really selective about our moves, continuing to grow on the culture that we've established, but we need to continue to build off of that. Again, player movement is being methodical to really, we understand what the core group of our team looks like. And now it's finding the pieces that really supplement and add another level, another layer to our team as we move into 2022. I can tell you after the first, day 4 of training, we were very, very much ahead of where we were at this point last year when we started preseason camp, and both just in our roster. I mean, I think last year, the first day of training, I think we maybe had 15 or 16 guys. We were at, close to 30 guys now. We're pretty full. And the ideas with the group and the understanding of what we're wanting to do is just at a whole different starting spot than where we were last year at this time. So we're happy about that. And yeah, we're back into business mode. And so this week has really been focused on reintroducing the guys to getting their fitness level, getting their legs under and getting them familiar again with the ball and relationships with each other. We haven't gotten into a ton of specific work just yet, but just trying to get everybody to where they need to be. Getting used to training soccer every single day of the week is in and of itself its own first step in getting ready to become more durable and ready for a season. So that's where things they're at today, and we're pleased with the progress we're making on all fronts, and looking forward to 2022. We're all a little disappointed, or very disappointed, with how the final day ended last year, and building off of a season like last year, we know we need to be more consistent from game to game, and we have low-hanging fruit in areas that we can really believe we can improve as a group as we move into this new season.
We'll now open it up for questions. We'll start with Damian Calhoun, the LA Daily News. Damian, go ahead.
Hey, Greg, how you doing?
Well, Damian, thank you.
You said the word methodical toward the roster building at least a couple of times there. How close are you to adding more pieces? I guess there's a report that another one of your former Toronto guys are headed in there. And then after that, what other spots on the roster you think you need to fill before you get to the start of the season here?
Yeah, I think, we are, I believe, with our recent additions, we still have 3 open spots on our primary roster, if I'm counting correctly. One's a DP spot and 2 potential TAM spots. So we still have good resources to work with, and we still think we can add players that can influence our group. And that work is underway. But again, like I said, there's some part of it is we want to remain with some flexibility as we move into latter stages of preseason and into the season. So we know, as we see really how this group continues to evolve, we have some flexibility to add to this team where we need to, but we're getting to where we need to be. Again, the final pieces always are to finalize our DP spot and how that player will fit into our group, and then again, I think just one or 2 more pieces in our midfield and maybe on the defensive side to help build our group. But we have depth, we have some youth, we've got some guys with experience and know-how in our league now. And we've got more guys who've won championships and have won playoff games this year than we did last year. And so we wanted to add some experience as we moved into this year. We believe we have a great group and core of young players who are going to help us build into the future, but we also wanted to put around them some key veteran players who fulfill roles for us, but also have experience in our league and just flat out know how to get it done.
And one quick follow here. You get the second year in the league for players like Granzier and Cabral. What's that next step you need to see out of them, either in training camp and going forward this season?
Yeah, again, I think last year was a good year for them just in terms of understanding the league, understanding the challenges of the league. I think for both of them, they found the league more difficult than what they had probably anticipated it was going to be when they were getting on the plane and flying over here. And they quickly learned that they're going to have to adapt and continue to improve as players, but also improve with what we're trying to do as a group. I think they have that experience under their belt. They've gone through a season. They've have experiences that they didn't have last year when they got in here at this point. I think Kevin's gotten a lot stronger. A year ago when he came in, he was kind of like a wet noodle, and he hadn't touched a weight, and you could tell he needed to build his strength and he needed to get more explosive. So for this year for Kevin, it's a lot about final product. I mean, he had a lot of chances last year to score goals, to have final actions. Through preseason, we're going to continue to work with him on just a better efficiency rate when he gets into that final action, whether that's setting up the goal or to finish the goal. He's a guy, again, that, if he would have put away his chances, he probably has 10 plus goals last year. And we believe he can do that this year with the right work, the right preparation, and he continues to do the work that he needs to do off the ball, on the ball, that stuff. For Sam, again, it's just consistency. Again, for Sam, I think he has the power, he has the strength, he has the abilities to really cause havoc in our league. I think it's just, again, consistency of the final action, consistency of his work through transitions, all that stuff, just being locked in and focused on every play. And again, growing just to connect with the group another step forward in that. But they both have the tools to be very successful, and we need to refine a few things as we work through this preseason. Last year, we didn't get to really work with them in preseason. So this is a good opportunity for us to start to attack some of those things right away. But we're pleased with where both of them are at. And we think there's still a lot of upside for each of them and their progress.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll go with Scott French. Scott, go ahead.
Hey, Greg. Nice to see you again.
Likewise, I think. I don't see you. I know you're there.
Yeah, no, I blacked out because otherwise I'd have to comb my hair and get out of bed.
Well, you see my hair. You don't have to comb your hair. You can just show up however, and then realize it when you're on camera. You're like, oh man, I should have done my hair.
In terms of filling these 3 spots, do you have specific targets already? And as a second question, just having had a full off season to continue to build, in what ways do you feel that the culture is different now than perhaps it was last season? And in what ways do you think this team is going to be different than last season's?
So in terms of targets, yes, we have specific targets and players that we're assessing, we're communicating with on a consistent basis. As it relates to DPs, it's more than one. It's a couple of deals, a couple of conversations that are going on until we close out the one that fits for us. But in terms of the TAM positions, yes, we have targets or guys that we are very interested in. Some might be able to happen fast. Some might take a little bit of time. And if things take time, they give us the ability to be flexible if we decide we need something a little different in the team as we move forward. So again, we have 3 roster spots available in our 20 still, and some resources to be able to help have some impactful players. So we're pleased with that. I think we have a really good starting core though. When I look at our group, there's depth in multiple positions. And so we're pleased with that. So again, I think we have a little bit of an opportunity to just kind of see where we're at and make sure we're very targeted about the next steps. But we have an idea of what that looks like and who that could be. As far as how this team matures, I think, last year it's, been talked about a lot. We had so many new players that I think it's easy to talk about culture and to work on culture, but until people build relationships and until guys really get to know each other and get to dig in, I think we had the starting point of a really strong culture. I think we have to take another step forward, which is now the guys really know each other. They've played together. They understand each other's strengths and weaknesses. They understand where each other come from a little bit different than they did a year ago. They know each other. They've gone through the rigors of an MLS season. Even having failed at the end, it changes the energy level of a group that comes in. It changes the hunger level. I think we were all at the end of the season, I'll speak for myself and for the guys that I've spoken to, we were embarrassed that we were in a playoff position for the entire season, and then 10 minutes to go left in the season, we're outside of one, and we only have ourselves to blame. We had too many opportunities that we let slide. And I think we as a group have to mature from that. And that maturity can add another layer to what we're doing here. I see that already as when the group arrives and their training and the hunger and the competitiveness. It's far more competitive 1 through the 25 guys that are out there training this year than it was last year. It's not even close. And when the training environment is competitive, then the guys will be more prepared week in and week out. And I think we're going to be, we'll be better for that. There's more competition for positions right off the bat. There's more competition in training. But at the same time, I think there's a great energy and spirit within the group. They do enjoy each other, but they're also here to push each other and make each other better. I think we're just a lot farther along, I think, in some of those aspects.
Wonderful. Thank you, Greg.
Yep.
We'll go with Josh Guessman next. Josh, go ahead.
Hey, Greg, welcome back.
Thank you. Good to see you.
A little questions about the power structure now that Dennis has left and sort of how that sits. Who's making decisions on player personnel? Who has final decisions? Who goes out and finds that talent? Can you sort of walk us through the progression of how you guys assess and find talent and how they end up signing with the club?
Yeah, since since the new year and since Dennis has departed, I'd say it's a very collaborative effort in terms of how we're going about things. Obviously, I work with the players on a daily basis. I'm building the team and the vision of how I want the team to play. And so I have all of the say in many ways in terms of who we're adding to our team, how they're going to fit into our team, the skill sets that we're looking for, the profiles, and what we want to add. But that's a collaborative discussion. I take input from everyone, from Jovan. Chris can sit in the discussions and be a part of it because some of these deals have to do with financial sides and all that kind of stuff. So it's a very open. This is the way I work. It's very collaborative. I take and seek information from everybody. We need to ask each other all the right questions. But ultimately, when it comes down to how the player plays, what the skill set that we're looking for, what the personality is, that's on me. And then Jovan's job right now is to go out and try to get the deals done and find out who he needs to be speaking to, and then try to help get that done between the agent, the player, the club, and all that kind of stuff, and help deliver that back. So it's been a good process. It's been efficient. Again, we've been more methodical and calculated about the process, doing more research on each of the players because we're not looking for as many players. We're trying to be very, like I said, very specific about the pieces. Obviously, we only have so many international spots available to us at the moment. So we have done some work inside the league. That's what you've seen with a few of these signings right now. That's the MLS know-how, but also guys who know how to play within the structure and style of play that I'm looking for. You've seen a couple of guys from that side of things. But the process has been very efficient and collaborative along the way.
I know you talked about the designated player spot. Is there a sense that you want that designated player in before the season starts? I know you talked about flexibility as well. Could you possibly bring in 2 TAM players and maybe wait on a designated player until summer? What are your thoughts about how you guys are trying to attack that?
Yeah, I mean, in an ideal scenario, I'd like to get somebody in soon. I think you can never underestimate the value of a preseason and being able to work with a group of players to set your trajectory, your path, your relationships going into a season. DPs are big players in terms of how they influence the group on a day-to-day basis. More times than not, they're difference makers, and more times than not, they have an influence on how things get done on the field. And so I think having those guys in with as much time to prepare everybody, including those players, is important. So if the deals can get done and the right guys at the right time at the right place, we can get it done, then I'd like them in tomorrow if possible. I just think you when you pick up DPs mid-season, sometimes there's an adaptation process, not just for them, but for the rest of the team and how they use them. It's not an ideal scenario. Not a ton of DPs over the course of our league have shown up mid-season and had a big impact on their team, and far more have when they've had the preseason to prepare. So that's an ideal scenario. If we can get that done, then that would be great.
Thanks, Greg. Appreciate it.
Thank you. We have time for one more with Alicia Rodriguez. Alicia, go ahead.
Thank you very much. Hi, Greg. Thanks for your time today.
Thank you.
Wanted to ask you about the Galaxy's top draft pick this year, Farai Mutatu. I saw that he was co-winner of the beep test. So I was just wondering,
He was the winner. He was
the winner.
He blew most people out. Yeah, fair enough. But yeah,
It sounds like he's in a good shape to start camp. I'm wondering your initial impressions of him, and if you think he's in contention for a spot with the first team, or if he's more likely to end up in with
Sure.
Galaxy 2 for this season.
yeah. I would say Farai's been impressive since day one. Obviously, showing up and being fit and strong and winning the beep test pretty handily is a good sign for yourself in terms of that you're ready to go. It doesn't necessarily mean everything, but it's certainly a great first impression for the young man. I mean, he's powerful. He's dynamic. He's shown to be able to do different things. I mean, we've played him up top a little bit. We've played him out wide. There's some talk about him maybe being able to play even from a deeper position wide. So for us, we feel like he just has a lot of potential, and I need to learn about him more and more about what his greatest strengths are. But he has shown really well in this first 4 days. It's still early doors in all of this, but I think he's competing to be within the first team mix and competing to be a player that can help our team this year. Again, he has a lot of attributes that have him ready to compete, at least physically at the MLS level. And then it's just to figure out what is the best role, what's the best position to help him be successful short-term and long-term within the group of players that we have. But he's certainly done a nice job to create a first impression for himself.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Greg, thank you so much for your time.
All right, everyone. Great to see you.